Before we begin this video, I want to tell you something. I'm particularly proud of this one. I believe I've managed to put into words an idea that feels deeply important, one that might help pull our species back from the frightening depths toward which we seem to be drifting. Albert Einstein once said, "God does not play dice." He firmly believed that every event has a cause. He argued that if someone knew the exact position and velocity of every particle in the universe at a given instant, they could predict every future event until the end of time. Baruch, our fictional young researcher who managed to re-engineer his own brain in a previous video, has now finished renovating the laboratory in his home. For the moment, he has left neuroscience behind. Now completely free from inhibition, he wants to know everything. Last year, he embarked on a journey across the entire universe aboard his spacecraft. He has just returned. He conducted a complete census of reality itself. He counted every electron, every proton, every neutron, every photon, every quark, every neutrino, every gluon, every boson, including every Higgs boson. For every one of them, he knows its position, momentum, energy, spin, and electric charge. He has also cataloged every field that exists. On top of that, he has discovered every missing law of physics required to measure reality perfectly. In short, Baruch is an exceptional scientist. After spending a few hours transferring the data, the entire universe now exists as a digital model inside his computer. Of course, we're conveniently ignoring the fact that, according to the physics of information, his computer would need to be at least as large as the universe itself to store all this information. But this wouldn't be the first time we've exaggerated Baruch's abilities a little, so let's allow ourselves that liberty. Baruch presses play. Life unfolds exactly as it is unfolding around him. Watching the world he already lives in through a computer screen quickly becomes rather uninteresting, so he accelerates the simulation. He watches stars die and new ones ignite. Nothing surprising. He zooms in on his home planet. He watches the Arctic melt, the Sahara expand, and the Amazon rainforest slowly shrink. Speeding the simulation up even further, he sees South America and Africa drifting farther apart over millions of years. He zooms in again. Civilizations collapse. Others emerge. One final zoom. His house appears. His neighbor steps outside just as Baruch does. The two of them exchange a conversation about quantum entanglement and the price of tomatoes at the grocery store. He wisely decides not to watch any further. He has no desire to learn the cause of his own death. For Baruch's experiment to be possible, nature itself must be deterministic rather than probabilistic. Einstein's view of reality, however, has become increasingly difficult to defend. Modern physics does not allow us to predict the exact position of an elementary particle such as an electron. Instead, it only provides a probability distribution, describing where that particle may be found. The same is true of its velocity. We cannot predict exactly how fast it will move, only the probabilities associated with different possible velocities. When we repeat experiments over and over again, these particles appear exactly as often as probability predicts they should. This inability to determine a particle's precise position or velocity in advance does not seem to arise from an incomplete understanding of nature. It appears to be fundamental, as if chance itself genuinely decides what happens. As far as I can see, there are only three possible answers to this mystery, and each leads to a radically different picture of reality. The first possibility is that this apparent randomness merely reflects something we have yet to discover about nature. Every event would still have a hidden cause, making the universe fundamentally deterministic, even if that determinism remains inaccessible to us today. The second possibility is that God really does play dice. Elementary events would then be fundamentally unpredictable. Reality could only ever be described statistically, making it impossible to predict the future with absolute certainty. The third possibility is that every possible outcome actually occurs, but in different universes. Whenever a probabilistic event takes place, reality branches, creating an entirely new universe for every possible outcome. This is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. As astonishing as it may sound, it is taken seriously by many physicists and is explored in much greater detail in my video, The Garden of Forking Paths. From the inside, however, this third possibility is practically indistinguishable from the second. Even if every outcome exists somewhere, we experience only one branch of reality. To us, every elementary event still appears probabilistic. In the end, there are really only two possibilities. Either the future is fundamentally probabilistic, or it is entirely deterministic, like Baruch's simulated universe. I believe this dilemma matters far less than most people think. Are we truly in control of our lives? It is one of philosophy's oldest questions. Many determinists conclude that they bear no responsibility for their actions, while many believers in free will spend their lives tormenting themselves over mistakes they believe they could have avoided. To me, it seems obvious that much of our lives lies beyond our conscious control, not because we are incapable of changing things, but because our very will is itself shaped by causes beyond our choosing. No human being can predict the course of a life, not because such prediction is impossible in principle, but because no one possesses enough information. The environment into which we are born, the people who raise us, those we encounter throughout our lives, and even the choices that feel most deeply our own, are all profoundly influenced by everything that came before. Had you been born in someone else's body, you would have made every decision that person made. You would have accomplished everything they accomplished. You would have become exactly who they became. Of course, if you reject the existence of a soul, then being born in that person's body simply means that you would have been that person. What I mean is this: our destinies are determined by an extraordinary lottery, the lottery that assigns each consciousness to a particular life. The most beloved human being received the conditions that allowed them to become who they were. The worst criminal followed the chain of causes that shaped every one of their decisions. This does not mean such a person should escape judgment. Justice remains necessary. Dangerous individuals must still be removed from society for the protection of everyone else. Understanding causality is not the same thing as abandoning responsibility. The greatest tragedy of our time is that so few people recognize how deeply every human life is the consequence of previous events. The unfortunate are everywhere. They may be you, they may be me, or perhaps they almost were. Perhaps in another universe, an electron occupied a different position. Perhaps in another world, humanity realized in time that no person is fundamentally more important than another. Hatred and cruelty are merely symptoms of a broken system. Once we truly understand this, revenge and hatred lose their deepest justification. The events of our lives can no longer serve as reasons to perpetuate suffering, because recognizing the deterministic nature of human behavior breaks the endless chain of pain and vengeance. Forgiveness ceases to be naive. It becomes the only path capable of leading our world away from the abyss into which it continues to descend.